The massive chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as the holographic display filled the center of the room. The swirling purple and black mass shown in the projection made even the bravest council members shift uncomfortably in their seats. The spatial anomaly had appeared 3 days ago, and it was growing larger with each passing hour. First Speaker Bill Thompson, the human representative, sat quietly in his chair, taking notes on his tablet while the other species argued around him. Humans were still new to the council, having joined only 15 years ago. Most species still viewed them as weak, timid creatures who had somehow stumbled their way into space. This anomaly threatens 4 major trade routes. Bellowed Representative Rock, his stone-like skin gleaming under the chamber lights. His species, the Granite People, were known for their warrior culture. Someone must investigate it immediately. "Then why don't you volunteer your people?" asked the bird-like Lord Swift, his feathers ruffling in annoyance. "Your ships are among the strongest in the sector." Rock's crystalline face hardened even further. "It is beneath our dignity to probe its space like curious children. We are warriors, not scientists." The hologram pulsed, and new data scrolled across the screen. The anomaly had just swallowed an unmanned cargo ship. Bill watched as the other representatives grew more agitated, but none stepped forward to deal with the crisis. The highly advanced steel mines, a machine race, spoke through their representative. "Our calculations show a 47.3% chance of total ship loss for any investigation attempt. The risk exceeds acceptable parameters." One by one, each species found a reason to avoid the task. The warrior races claimed it was beneath them. The technological species cited the risks. The peaceful races admitted they lacked the capability. The trader species worried about profit margins. Bill watched them all, continuing to take notes. He had already sent the preliminary data to Earth's Space Command and received their analysis. Humanity had learned long ago that rushing into danger was a quick way to die. But doing nothing was even worse. Finally, during a brief pause in the arguing, Bill stood up. He didn't shout or make grand gestures like the other representatives. He simply raised his hand, the way a student might in a classroom. "The Human Federation will investigate the anomaly," he said, his voice calm but clear. The chamber erupted in a mixture of laughter and scorn. "The humans? What will they do? Hide from it?" sneered Rock. "Perhaps they'll try to make peace with it," mocked another representative. Lord Swift fluttered his wings in dismay. "You cannot be serious. Your ships are primitive compared to ours. Your weapons are weak. Your shields are basic. You would be destroyed." Bill let them laugh. He had expected this reaction. He brought up his own holographic display, showing the human ship that would undertake the mission. "The research vessel, Cautious Endeavor, is already prepared for the mission," he explained. "We've analyzed the data and developed multiple investigation strategies. The ship carries advanced sensing equipment, and its crew is trained for first contact scenarios. We have backup plans for our backup plans." "You mean you were planning this before you even volunteered?" asked Lord Swift, his mocking tone giving way to confusion. "Of course," Bill replied. "That's what humans do. We plan. We prepare. We take precautions. You call it cowardice. We call it survival." The chamber grew quiet again, but this time the silence had a different quality. The other representatives were looking at the human ship's specifications with new interest. "The mission launches in 6 hours," Bill continued. "We've already calculated the safest approach vector and prepared multiple retreat routes if needed. Our ship may not be the strongest or the fastest, but it's properly equipped for this specific task." The first speaker of the council, an ancient being of pure energy, floated forward. "The humans have volunteered. Does any other species wish to offer their services instead?" The silence that followed was answer enough. "Very well," the first speaker declared. "The Human Federation will investigate the spatial anomaly. May their caution serve them well." As Bill sat back down, he could still hear some quiet snickering from the warrior races, but he didn't mind. Humans had learned long ago that being called a coward was far better than being called a casualty. The cautious endeavor would prove that sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is admit you're afraid, and then do what needs to be done anyway. Captain Tom Miller stood on the bridge of the cautious endeavor, watching his crew run through their final safety checks. The ship's name, written in bold letters across its hull, had become something of a joke among alien species, but Tom didn't mind. He'd rather have a safe ship than an impressive name. "Captain, our alien observers have arrived," reported First Officer Jane, looking up from her screen. The Council had insisted on sending representatives to watch how humans handled the mission. Tom knew they were expecting to see humans fail. 3 aliens walked onto the bridge. The first was a tall, warrior-like being with rock-hard skin, sent by Representative Rock. The second was one of the bird-like people, covered in bright feathers. The third was a gleaming robot from the steel mines. They looked around the bridge with obvious disapproval. "Why are your crew members wasting time checking systems that were already checked yesterday?" The rock warrior, named Strong, asked with clear disgust in his voice. Tom smiled patiently. "Because things can go wrong between yesterday and today. We check everything 3 times. It's standard procedure." The bird person, Swiftwing, ruffled his feathers. "Our ships would already be at the anomaly by now. Your human caution wastes precious time." Instead of arguing, Tom pressed a button on his chair. "All crew, this is your captain. Begin emergency scenario Delta 7. Immediately, the lights dimmed to red. The crew smoothly moved into action. Within seconds, everyone was at their emergency stations. Engineer Mike's voice came over the speaker. "Backup power systems engage. Secondary and tertiary life support activated. Emergency suits ready for all crew members." "Most impressive," the steel-mined robot commented. "But this is merely a drill. Real emergencies are not so orderly." Tom nodded. "You're right. That's why we practice until it becomes automatic." Speaking of which, he pressed another button. "Random system failure drill. Begin." Without warning, sparks flew from one of the control panels. The crew responded instantly, redirecting power, sealing off the affected section, and fixing the problem within minutes. "That was unexpected," Swiftwing admitted. "That's the point," Jane explained. "We program random failures into our drills. The crew never knows what will go wrong or when." Strong crossed his arms. "And how many times do you practice these drills?" "Every day," Tom replied. "Different scenarios, different problems, different solutions. We've run over 200 simulations of approaching the anomaly alone." The alien observers watched as the crew continued their preparations. They saw how each crew member could do not just their own job, but at least 2 others. They watched the careful loading of backup equipment and emergency supplies. They observed the meticulous checking and double-checking of every system. Engineer Mike approached the captain with a tablet. "Final equipment check complete, sir. We've added extra shielding to the sensor probes, installed the new emergency teleporters, and loaded enough supplies to last 3 months. The mission is only planned for 2 weeks, the steel mine noted. "Exactly," Mike said with a grin. "Always pack for longer than you plan to stay. That's the first rule of space exploration." As the launch time approached, Tom gathered his crew for one final briefing. The alien observers stood at the back of the room, listening. "We're about to face something unknown," Tom told his people. "The other species think we're cowards because we take precautions, because we plan ahead, because we admit that space is dangerous." He looked each crew member in the eye. "But here's the truth. We're the ones going out there. We're the ones facing the unknown. And we're going to do it our way. The careful way, the prepared way, the human way." The crew nodded, their faces serious but determined. They had trained for this. They were ready. As the cautious Endeavor lifted off from the space dock, Strong turned to Swiftwing and muttered, "All this preparation. They must be terrified." Tom overheard him and smiled. "Of course we're terrified," he said quietly. "That's why we'll survive." The ship moved smoothly into space, its engines humming perfectly, every system running exactly as it should. Behind them, the safe, familiar space of the Council worlds fell away. Ahead lay the unknown, and humans were finally ready to face it, not with blind courage, but with careful, calculated determination. The cautious Endeavor hung in space, just outside the range of the swirling purple-black anomaly. The massive disturbance looked even more threatening up close, its edges rippling with strange energy that made the ship's sensors buzz with warnings. "Launch the first probe," Captain Tom ordered, his voice steady despite the tension on the bridge. Strong, the rock warrior observer, snorted. "More delays, more tests. Why not simply fly into it and see what happens?" "Because that's how you get dead," Engineer Mike replied as he carefully guided the probe's launch. The small device, heavily shielded and packed with sensors, moved slowly toward the anomaly. The crew watched in silence as the probe transmitted data. Suddenly, the probe's signal vanished. "Probe lost," Jane reported calmly. "Exactly as expected. Launching second probe with modified shielding." The alien observers exchanged confused looks. "You expected to lose the first probe?" Swiftwing asked. "Of course," Tom explained. "That's why we brought 20 of them, each with different modifications. We learned from each failure." The second probe lasted longer, sending back strange readings before it too went dark. The third probe made it even further. By the sixth probe, they had mapped the anomaly's outer layer. "There's definitely something solid in there," Mike said, studying the readings. "Something big, possibly a ship." The steel-mind observer processed this information. "A ship? You would need to get much closer to confirm that." "We will," Tom said. "But first," he pressed a button on his chair, "release the anchor buoys." 4 small devices shot out from the cautious Endeavor, positioning themselves around the ship. Each one extended a powerful energy tether, creating a stable web that would prevent the ship from being pulled in unexpectedly. "Now activate the emergency beacon network," Tom ordered. More small devices spread out into space, forming a chain of communication relays back to safe space. If something went wrong, their distress call would reach the Council. Strong laughed. "You humans and your endless precautions. Such cowardice." Before anyone could respond, the ship's sensors lit up with new data. The 7th probe had penetrated deeper into the anomaly than any before it, and its readings were clear. There was definitely a massive vessel trapped inside. "Got you," Mike whispered, enhancing the grainy images. The alien ship was unlike anything they had ever seen, its design both beautiful and somehow wrong, as if it hurt the eyes to look at it too long. "We're picking up energy readings," Jane reported. "It's not dead. There's something still active in there." Tom studied the readings carefully. "Begin transmission sequence Alpha. Let's see if anyone's home." The crew had practiced this too. Simple mathematical patterns, basic universal constants, the kind of signals any advanced species should recognize. They sent the messages on different frequencies, through different methods, waiting patiently for a response. "This is pointless," Strong complained after 10 minutes. If they could respond, they would have done so already. But the humans kept trying, varying the patterns, adjusting the signals. After 20 minutes, something changed. Energy spike. Jane called out, "Something on that ship is powering up." Swiftwing fluttered nervously. "We should retreat. They could be hostile." "That's why we have the anchor buoys," Tom reminded him calmly. "We can pull back instantly if needed." He turned to his communications officer. "Any patterns in the energy fluctuations?" "Yes, sir," the officer replied. They're matching our mathematical sequences. It's trying to communicate." The alien ship's responses grew stronger, more complex. The humans carefully adjusted their own signals to match, building a basic form of communication through pure mathematics. "Fascinating," the steel-mind observer said. "Your slow, cautious approach has actually yielded results." Tom nodded, but his attention was focused on the incoming signals. They were getting clearer now, more structured, and they carried a message that made everyone on the bridge fall silent. "Warning," Jane translated slowly. The message says, "Warning." The anomaly pulsed, and the ancient ship's signal grew stronger. Whatever was inside that swirling purple-black mass, it was awake now, and it was trying to tell them something important. "Well," Tom said quietly, "I guess all those safety protocols are about to come in very handy." The cautious Endeavour hung steady in space, anchored by its buoys, surrounded by its sensors and probes, its crew ready for anything. They had prepared for every possibility they could think of. They were about to find out if it was enough. The bridge of the cautious Endeavour was silent as more messages came through from the mysterious ship. Captain Tom leaned forward in his chair, watching as his communications team carefully decoded each transmission. "The translation is getting clearer, sir," Jane reported. "It's not just saying warning anymore. It's an AI. The ship's artificial intelligence is trying to talk to us." The steel mind observer moved closer to the display, its metallic form reflecting the purple light from the anomaly. An artificial intelligence. From an ancient vessel. The next message appeared on the main screen. "Danger. Containment. Do not wake them." "Them?" Strong asked, his rocky features showing concern for the first time. "Who are them?" More data streamed in as the ship's AI shared its story. The communications team worked quickly to translate, while engineer Mike analyzed the technical data hidden within the transmissions. "Captain," Mike called out, his face pale. "You need to see these power readings. Whatever's in that ship, it's massive. The energy signature is off the charts." Tom nodded slowly. "Jane, full report on what we know so far." Jane stood and faced the bridge crew and observers. "According to the AI, this ship belongs to a species called the Titans. They are one of the first spacefaring races. Incredibly powerful, incredibly advanced, and incredibly dangerous." Swiftwing ruffled his feathers nervously. "Why dangerous?" "Because they saw everyone else as insects," Jane continued. "They destroyed entire civilizations just to study the effects. They turned stars into weapons. They played with black holes like toys." She paused, looking at her datapad, until someone finally stopped them. "Who could stop such beings?" Strong asked. "Not who. What?" Jane explained. "A coalition of ancient species created this anomaly. It's not a natural phenomenon. It's a prison. The most advanced prison ever built. And the Titans are locked inside, in suspended animation." The steel mind's lights flickered as it processed this information. "If this is true, we should leave immediately. Such beings are beyond our ability to handle." But Tom noticed something in the data stream. "Wait," he said, pointing to a pattern in the messages. "The AI isn't just warning us. It's asking for help." Mike pulled up more technical readings. "The containment field is failing. That's why the anomaly appeared and started growing. The prison is breaking down." "Then let it break," Strong declared. "Let these Titans wake. We will face them in glorious battle." Tom shook his head. "The AI says they can't be beaten by force. That's why they had to be trapped while they were hibernating. If they wake up angry, they'll start destroying worlds again," Jane finished. Swiftwing moved toward the exit. "Then we must flee. Warn everyone. Evacuate the sector." "There's no time," Mike said, checking his instruments. "The containment field is degrading faster than we thought. We have maybe 6 hours before total failure." The alien observers all began talking at once, arguing about what to do. Strong wanted to call in battle fleets. Swiftwing insisted on evacuation. The steel mind calculated the odds of survival. They weren't good. But Captain Tom was quiet, thinking. "Jane, ask the AI something for me. Ask if the Titans have to wake up angry." Jane sent the message. The response came back quickly. "Moved upon, No aakingdependis uncircumstances, puri viuses awakening, violent, resulted in immediate aggression. What about a peaceful awakening? Tom asked. Has anyone ever tried that? The AI's response was simple. Nini ga. Tom stood up, causing everyone to fall silent. Here's what we know. We can't fight them. We can't run from them. We can't keep them locked up anymore. He looked at each person on the bridge. But maybe we can do what humans do best. Prepare for their arrival. What do you mean? Strong asked. We have 6 hours, Tom explained. Instead of planning for battle or running away, let's plan for peace. Let's wake them up carefully, respectfully, on their terms. Let's give them a reason not to be angry. The alien observers stared at him in shock. You want to deliberately wake up the most dangerous beings in the galaxy? Swiftwing asked in disbelief. Yes, Tom replied. But we're going to do it the human way. Carefully, with plenty of backup plans. And most importantly, he smiled slightly, politely. Engineer Mike was already working at his station. I can modify our hibernation pods to handle their life support needs. We've got translation programs ready. Emergency force fields are at full power. This is either the bravest or most foolish plan I've ever heard, Strong rumbled. Maybe, Tom agreed. But sometimes the best way to avoid a fight is to make sure it never starts. Jane, tell the AI we're going to help. Let's show these titans that the galaxies changed while they were sleeping. The cautious Endeavor's crew began their preparations, while the ancient AI watched and waited. In 6 hours, they would either make first contact with one of the most powerful species ever known, or make the biggest mistake in galactic history. Time was running out. Engineer Mike's face was covered in sweat as he studied the latest readings from the anomaly. Captain, we have a problem. The entire bridge crew of the cautious Endeavor turned to look at their engineer. Even the alien observers stopped their ongoing debate about the humans' plan. The containment field isn't just failing, Mike explained, pulling up a holographic display. It's collapsing faster than we thought. We don't have 6 hours. We have less than 2. Captain Tom stepped closer to examine the readings. What changed? Our communications with the AI, Mike said. Each signal exchange is weakening the field faster. We're actually making it worse by talking to them. Strong, the rock warrior, slammed his fist on a nearby console. Then the time for talk is over. I have already called for battle cruisers. They will be here in 3 hours. That's 1 hour too late, Jane pointed out, her voice steady despite the tension. The Titans will already be awake by then, and angry. The bridge erupted into chaos as everyone started talking at once. Swiftwing fluttered around the room, squawking about evacuation plans. The steel mind calculated and recalculated odds of survival. Strong argued for an immediate attack. Quiet. Tom's voice cut through the noise. Everyone fell silent. Mike, give me options. The engineer wiped his forehead. We could try to strengthen the containment field, but our technology isn't advanced enough. We could try to destroy the ship, but the explosion would take out half the sector. Or, Tom prompted, or we stick to the original plan, but do it faster. Much faster. Mike pulled up new diagrams. We've modified the hibernation pods. We've got the translation matrix ready. The welcome protocols are prepared. We need to do it all in less than 2 hours instead of 6. The steel mind's lights flickered rapidly. Probability of success has dropped to 12.4%. That's not helping, Jane muttered. Suddenly, all the screens on the bridge flashed red. The ancient ship's ad was sending a new message. Critical. Emergency. Titans show weighing signs of WA. Swiftwing flew to the exit. We must leave now, while we still can. But Tom noticed something in the AI's data stream. Wait, look at these brainwave patterns. The Titans aren't fully conscious yet. They're in that state between sleeping and waking. Like when you're just waking up? Jane asked. When you're still groggy and confused. Exactly, Tom said. And what do humans need when they're waking up after a long sleep? Mike's eyes widened with understanding. A calm environment, gentle lights, soft sounds, clear information about where they are and what's happening. Tom turned to his crew. New plan. We're not going to try to control this situation. We're going to guide it. Make it as peaceful as possible. He started giving orders rapidly. Jane, have medical teams ready with calming atmospherics. Mike, adjust ship's lighting to match their natural spectrum. Communications, prepare a soft-tone welcome message in their language. You're treating galaxy-destroying beings like children waking from a nap, Strong said in disbelief. No, Tom corrected him. We're treating them like what they are. Powerful, dangerous beings who will be confused and disoriented. The worst thing we can do is make them feel threatened. The AI sent another urgent message. Containment failing. 60 minutes remaining. Tom pressed a button on his chair. All hands. This is the captain. Begin Operation Gentle Dawn. This is not a drill. The crew moved with practiced precision, despite the shortened timeline. They had drilled for this, even if they'd expected to have more time. Emergency crews took positions. Medical teams prepared their stations. Engineers monitored every system. 30 minutes to field collapse, Mike reported. Battle cruisers have changed course, Strong announced. They're coming anyway. 15 minutes, Jane called out. Tom stood in the center of his bridge, watching his crew work. Everything they had trained for, every safety measure, every backup plan, was about to be tested. Captain, the steel mine said quietly, the odds of survival are now below 10%. Tom nodded. Then we better not make any mistakes. He looked at the swirling anomaly on the main screen. Inside, ancient beings were starting to stir. The galaxy's most dangerous prison was about to break open, and only the cowardly humans stood ready to deal with what came next. 5 minutes to containment failure, Jane announced, her voice echoing across the tensely quiet bridge of the cautious Endeavor. Captain Tom stood at his station, watching as the purple-black anomaly pulsed with increasing intensity. The ancient prison was breaking apart before their eyes. Inside, the Titans were stirring. All stations, report, Tom ordered. Medical bay ready with modified atmosphere controls, came the first response. Translation matrix at full power, reported communications. Backup systems standing by, engineer Mike confirmed. All safety protocols active. Strong, the rock warrior observer, couldn't stay quiet any longer. This is madness. You're about to release the most dangerous beings in galactic history, and you're treating it like a hospital procedure. Exactly, Tom replied calmly. Because right now, they're not dangerous weapons. They're patients waking up from the longest sleep in history. The ship's AI sent another message. Warning. 2 minutes to fuel awakening. Tom pressed a button on his chair. Begin Operation Gentle Dawn. Phase 1. The cautious Endeavor's external lights dimmed to a soft glow. Special beacons activated, projecting a calming energy field that the ancient AI had helped them calibrate. The ship's communication array began broadcasting a carefully crafted message in the Titan's language, explaining where they were and what had happened. 1 minute, Jane called out. Swift Wing fluttered nervously. The battle cruisers are still coming. They'll be here in 50 minutes. Then we have 50 minutes to make sure they're not needed, Tom responded. He turned to his crew. Remember your training. Stay calm. Follow the protocols. The anomaly's outer layer suddenly shimmered and began to dissolve. Containment field failing, Mike reported. 30 seconds. The steel mine's lights blinked rapidly. Energy readings are off the scale. The Titan's air, a blast of brilliant light cut through space. The ancient ship emerged from the dying anomaly, its massive form dwarfing the cautious Endeavor. Its surface gleamed with patterns that hurt the eyes to look at, technology so advanced it seemed like magic. "Now," Tom commanded. Phase 2. The human ship's modified hibernation pods powered up, creating a familiar environment for the waking Titans. The translation matrix sent more detailed messages, explaining the passage of time, the changes in the galaxy, and most importantly, the humans' peaceful intentions. "Multiple life signs detecting," Jane reported. "They're waking up." The ancient ship's surface rippled, and a voice boomed through all communication channels. It spoke in a language none of them knew, but the translation matrix quickly converted it. "Who dares?" The alien observers flinched at the sheer power in that voice. But Tom stepped forward, activating the video feed. "I am Captain Tom Miller of the human vessel Cautious Endeavor," he said clearly. "We are here to help you wake safely." There was a long pause. The Titan's ship glowed with internal energies that could have destroyed them all in an instant. Finally, another message. "Why do you not FLE? Why do you not ATTACK?" "Because neither would help," Tom replied. "You're disoriented, confused. You need time to adjust. We've prepared everything to make your awakening easier." Another pause. Then, "You prepared for US?" "Yes," Tom said. "We have medical support ready. Information about the current state of the galaxy. Comfortable environments calibrated to your species' needs. We want to help you wake up properly." The massive ship moved closer. Everyone on the bridge held their breath. "No one any haze EVER. Cared for Orcs or BEVOR." Tom smiled slightly. "Then maybe that's why there were problems before. We'd like to try a different approach." Suddenly, the ancient AI's voice joined the conversation. "Titans Sheshobuang normal awakening patterns. Aggression allevials. Minimal. Confusion reducing." The Titan's ship stayed close to the Cautious Endeavor, its overwhelming power held in check. "Your species is strange," the voice declared. "You is a show great care in the face of great danger." "That's the human way," Tom said simply. As the minutes passed, more Titans awoke, but instead of the violent emergence everyone had feared, they woke to clear information, comfortable surroundings, and peaceful intentions. The human approach, careful, methodical, and considerate, had turned a potential catastrophe into a peaceful first contact. Strong watched in amazement as the Titans began calm discussions with the humans. "I don't understand," he muttered. "How did Cordis become wisdom?" "It always was," Jane replied quietly. "You just needed humans to show you." The great chamber of the Galactic Council was packed beyond capacity. Representatives from every species had come to witness this historic session. At the center of the room, Captain Tom and his crew stood beside a being that seemed to bend reality around its edges. A Titan diplomat. First speaker Bill Thompson, the human representative who had first volunteered his people for the mission, could barely hide his smile. "Let the record show," the council leader announced, "that the crisis of the spatial anomaly has been resolved. The Titans have agreed to peaceful integration into modern galactic society." Strong, the rock warrior who had observed everything from the Cautious Endeavor, stepped forward to address the council. "I must speak," he declared. "I witnessed everything. I saw what many would call cowardice transformed into the greatest victory our galaxy has known." The Titan diplomat's form shimmered as it spoke, its words translated for all to hear. "We awoke expecting war, as we always had before. Instead, we found creatures who treated us with care." The being turned to look at Tom. "These humans prepared for every possibility, including the possibility of peace." Engineer Mike, standing with his captain, clutched the data pad containing all their safety protocols, the very ones that had made the difference. Jane stood beside him, her head held high despite her exhaustion from the long diplomatic talks that had followed the awakening. The human approach to danger is unlike anything we have seen, the Titan continued. Where others rush in, they prepare. Where others fight, they prevent. Where others seek to dominate, they seek to understand. Swiftwing, who had also witnessed everything, fluttered forward. Their cautions saved us all. Every safety measure, every backup plan, every careful protocol, they all mattered. The humans treated the most dangerous beings in history as patients needing care, not enemies needing defeat. The steel-mind observer added its own analysis. Their success probability was calculated at less than 10%. Yet they succeeded because they accounted for variables we did not consider. Comfort, confusion, the psychology of awakening. First Speaker Bill stood up. The Human Federation never claimed to be the strongest, the most advanced, or the bravest in the traditional sense. We simply offered to help in the way we knew best, carefully, thoughtfully, and thoroughly. The Titan's form rippled with what seemed to be amusement. In all our ancient conquests, no species ever thought to simply make us comfortable, to explain things clearly, to treat us as beings rather than weapons. It turned to address the entire council. We have decided to learn from these humans. Perhaps all our ancient power needed was some human wisdom to guide it. Captain Tom stepped forward. The Titans have agreed to share their knowledge, but gradually, responsibly. They've accepted our proposal for careful integration, with plenty of safety protocols and cultural exchange programs. The council chamber erupted in discussion. The warrior races were stunned that preparation had succeeded where combat would have failed. The technological species were amazed that simple comfort had worked better than any containment field. From this day forward, the council leader declared, the word human shall no longer carry any hint of cowardice in our language. They have shown us that caution is not weakness, it is wisdom. Strom approached Tom after the session. I once mocked your endless preparations, the rock warrior admitted. I called you cowards, but now I understand. True courage is being afraid and still doing what must be done. True strength is being powerful enough to be gentle. The Titan diplomat joined them. We have spent eons being feared. Perhaps now, with human guidance, we can learn to be respected instead. It turned to Tom. Your ship's name, Cautious Endeavor. We once thought it foolish. Now we see it as the perfect description of wisdom. First Speaker Bill concluded the session with words that would be remembered for generations. Today marks a new era in galactic history. The Titans have returned not as conquerors, but as partners. And humanity has proven that what others call cowardice, we call responsibility. In the end, it wasn't mighty weapons or advanced technology that saved us all. It was thoroughly human caution, preparation, and care. As the chamber slowly emptied, Tom looked at his crew, the cowards who had dared to be careful in the face of destruction. They had changed the galaxy not through force or fear, but through planning, preparation, and the simple human understanding that everyone, even the most powerful beings in existence, sometimes just needs a gentle awakening. The human way, once mocked, had become the new standard for facing the unknown.